In the day's other headlines, President Trump says he had a good conversation today with Russian President Vladimir Putin, but that it would not lead to, quote, immediate peace. Trump posted on social media that they discussed Ukraine's Sunday attack on Russian aircraft and that Putin said Russia needs to respond. New satellite images show planes at the Belaya Air Base in eastern Siberia before the attack and after, with the ashes of what appear to be Russian bombers on the tarmac. Ukraine also released video today from the attack. Officials claim to have destroyed or damaged 41 Russian warplanes. Moscow says those estimates are exaggerated. Today, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky proposed a temporary ceasefire until he and Putin can meet.
The Russians are not ready for a ceasefire, at least not at the level of the current delegations. They believe this is an issue for the leaders to decide. They told us directly, the ceasefire is a matter for a different level.
This comes as the Ukraine Contact Defense Group met in Belgium today for the first time without the U.S. Secretary of Defense. The Pentagon says that scheduling issues prevented Pete Hegseth from attending. The U.S. has played a leading role in the gathering of Ukraine backers since former Defense Chief Lloyd Austin helped found the group 3 years ago. Despite his absence from today's gathering, Hegseth will meet with NATO defense ministers in Brussels tomorrow. A federal judge issued an order today to prevent the deportation of Mohammed Sabri Soliman's family. He's the Egyptian man charged in this week's firebomb attack on a Jewish group in Boulder, Colorado. Soliman's wife and 5 children were taken into federal custody yesterday by U.S. immigration officials. He faces federal hate crime charges and state charges of attempted murder for the attack that injured 15 people. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said today that the family is being processed for removal proceedings. Soliman's family members have not been charged with any crime. In Gaza, an aid group temporarily paused food deliveries today at its 3 distribution sites. That's after health officials say dozens of Palestinians were killed this week in multiple shootings near the facilities. The U.S. and Israeli-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation says there's been no violence at the sites themselves. Israel's military says it fired near people it described as suspects after firing warning shots, and they're looking into reports of injuries. In the meantime, hospital officials say Israeli strikes killed more than 24 people overnight and into today across Gaza. One of the attacks hit a tent in Gaza City, killing 2 women and a child. Turning now to India, a stampede outside of a cricket stadium in the southern city of Bengaluru today killed at least 11 people and injured more than 30 others. Thousands of fans had gathered to celebrate the winners of the Indian Premier League. Authorities say the crush began when some people who didn't have passes tried to break into the stadium. Footage from the scene showed the injured being rushed off in ambulances as festivities inside the stadium continued. This comes roughly 5 months after a stampede at a Hindu religious festival in northern India killed at least 30 people. In Saudi Arabia, Muslims from around the world are taking part in the annual Hajj pilgrimage to Mecca amid warnings of excessive heat. People visited the Grand Mosque today as temperatures soared past 100 degrees. More than 1,300 pilgrims died in high heat last year, prompting changes this time around. Authorities are cautioning people not to go out during the day, and children under 12 are banned. The Hajj is one of the 5 pillars of Islam and is a once-in-a-lifetime obligation for every able-bodied Muslim who can afford it. China's foreign ministry says that Secretary of State Marco Rubio, quote, distorted historical facts in his statement marking the 36th anniversary of the Tiananmen Square crackdown. Rubio praised the courage of those who were killed, saying, quote, the world will never forget. Security was tight around the square today. China's leaders banned any public commemoration of the events of 1989 when troops were sent in to break up a massive student-led protest. Officials have never released a death toll, though estimates from eyewitnesses and rights groups range into the thousands. On Wall Street today, stocks ended mixed after recent gains. The Dow Jones Industrial Average slipped about 90 points on the day. The Nasdaq rose about 60 points, or around 1/3 of 1%. The S&P 500 ended virtually flat. And the groundbreaking gay writer Edmund White has died. Through essays, articles, and dozens of books like the best-selling A Boy's Own Story, White chronicled gay life in America. He was present at the Stonewall riots in 1969 that sparked the gay rights movement. He later wrote that up until then, quote, "We had all thought homosexuality was a medical term. Suddenly we saw that we could be a minority group with rights, a culture, an agenda." White also wrote about the AIDS epidemic and in 1985 learned that he himself was HIV positive. He later survived 2 major strokes. Edmund White was 85 years old. Still to come on the NewsHour, a former Homeland Security official targeted by President Trump speaks out, and the impact of widespread cuts to the National Endowment of the Arts.
This is the PBS NewsHour from the David M. Rubenstein Studio at WETA in Washington and in the West from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State University.